You guys seem to like that Gypsy Rose video I did pretty recently, a few weeks back. So I figured, hey, finally getting around to it, let's go through some of my notes from the 3 biggest documentary series that were released about Gypsy or that Gypsy appeared in that I think are the most telling to who she really is. So there's too much here to do in one video. It would just be ridiculously long. So I'm gonna do one at a time. And today we're gonna start with the Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose. Now these were a series of interviews that were done in prison while Gypsy was she was going through various portions of her imprisonment and then release. It's her on camera talking, and wow, it was telling. It was real telling. So the first big thing that I noticed when I was watching Gypsy in this is she admits to having no remorse for what she did, which is weird. Even if you were abused, my mother abused me, I miss her sometimes, and you'll hear this across the board. It's very unique to not feel any remorse and very telling. Anyways, her exact words were, it took her years to miss her mother. That's directly from her. And anytime she was basically asked directly, do you miss her? Do you miss your mother? She would just dance around the question because she didn't want to answer it like a psychopath, which I think she probably knows she is. They talk in that documentary how her mom was 24 and her dad was 17 when she came into the world. So that's already a pretty messed up dynamic and says a lot about Dee Dee and Dee Dee's personality. In it, Gypsy tells this story, which is supposed to be trauma about how her mother hated her because she wasn't a boy, and she laughs and smiles when she's telling this story about not being wanted because she wasn't a boy. It's the same smile very often that she gives when she's talking about the murder of her mother. She smiles a lot when she talks about her mother's death. Also super telling was in this, the granddad, Dee Dee's father, is on camera, and he always refers to Gypsy as was my granddaughter, as in she's out, like disgusting. And I think that that's telling because the family also didn't like Dee Dee. Like Dee Dee's family knew she was a criminal and like a fraudster and a big POS. They didn't like Dee Dee, and for them to like also hate Gypsy for what she did points to a lot for me. Gypsy describes prison as fun. She describes prison as fun in these confessions. And I know some of you would be like, that's because her life was so terrible and she was chained to her chair. She wasn't. She ran away several times and she got taken to these like anime cons, Comic-Cons and stuff quite often. She was in public quite a lot. Oh, in this Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose, the family, Dee Dee's family, says we knew she could walk. And one of them describes coming home one day and seeing Gypsy jumping on the trampoline with her cousins. And then when Dee Dee showed up, Gypsy collapsed like she couldn't walk. And I think they said that's when she was between 8 and 10 years old. She also admits in here that her mother taught her to be a manipulator. And she doesn't say I stopped being a manipulator. She says, oh no, like my mom taught me how to be a really good manipulator, which also signals that she was in on the scam. Over and over and over and over and over and over again, Gypsy refers to herself as special and puts herself in terms of special, how special she is. And her mother told her how special she was all the time. But then also her mother hated her because she wasn't a boy. There's a lot of contradictions and narcissism on display. She does a lot of performance crying with no tears. And reminder, smiles when she talks about the murder of her mother. In this, Gypsy also tells a story of how in 2001, her mother was trying to poison her step-grandfather with Roundup. Anyway, that's just the majority of my notes on this. I don't want to make this video any longer, but huge number of red flags in the Prison Confessions of Gypsy Rose. And it's just going to get worse from here.